Alright, I felt a video would be a good idea this week as well. I made a little bit of a change to what you had already done yesterday, so hopefully you haven't gone too far ahead. I need to just send you the final version of this thing anyway. So, instead of just going from, in the scale section, going from the root note up to the octave, I felt it would be best if we go root note up to the octave and then back down. So just up and down, and there you go. So I updated the C Ionian shape as well as the A Aeolian scale shape there to reflect this idea of going up and then back down. So climb an octave up, go back down to the root note. So remember, we are using inversions to go from one chord to the next. One thing we talked about is if, with a little more numeral stuff here. So basically, if the root note is right next to each other, in this case, the F to the G, an F major chord and a G major chord share nothing. Not a single thing, okay? But for other chords, such as when you went from the C major to the F major, one of the goals to keep in mind is when you go to the next chord, if the new chord shares one or two notes with the previous chord, we keep those in the chord shape. So the F and the C, or the C and the F chord both share a C, so that stayed in the same place. The A minor and D minor both shared the A note, so that stayed in the same place. And down here, the C chord and the G chord both shared the C note, or not the C note, the G note. The G note is shared, so that stayed there. So one thing that could help you find the proper chord quickly. So referencing what you already filled out, the one I said was perfect. The guitar profile that has the non-inversion, so basically this guy here first, and then it shows the first inversion and then second inversion, basically the whole thing you worked on throughout the week. So to keep things simple, we are starting with no inversion each time. Now, the root note of this chord is at the top. That's the first inversion. First inversion has the root note at the top of the chord. So that is your 3, 5, 1. So when you're going to the next chord and you see that the root note's going to be the highest note in the chord shape, that's the first inversion. If you see that the root note is going to be in the middle, that's the second inversion, because that goes 5, 1, 3. So things like that can help you navigate things a little bit more quickly instead of looking through every single possible chord shape. So again, if the root note is at the bottom, as it will be every single time you start a new progression, there is no inversion. It's just 1, 3, 5. If the root note is at the top of the chord, that is the first inversion, going 3, 5, 1. If the root note is in the middle of the chord, that is the second inversion, going 5, 1, 3. So, you got the string name you're starting with on each progression. And because we are using inversions, keep everything on the same set of strings the whole time. Inversions allow us to do that. So, very minimal movement, playing all kinds of chords. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you again next week.